A professor at Nankai University and the vice president of the China Population Society said on September 11, 2023, that more than 30 million Chinese men can't find wives in their own country. Why is this? According to this professor, the high sex ratio at birth, or gender imbalance, which has existed in China for about 40 years, has caused some people to be single passively or against their will, resulting in more than 30 million Chinese men not being able to find wives in their own country. Formerly the head of the National Expert Group on Sex Ratio at Birth under the former State Planning and Family Planning Commission, this professor pointed out that it is already a reality that tens of millions of males don't have females of the right age to get married, and that the social problem of gender imbalance due to highly unbalanced sex ratio at birth has begun to emerge. One of the consequences is the low fertility rate. To add insult to injury, China's economy has been declining over the past 2 years, and the public spending power has declined. The cumulative effect of the two has led to major problems in many aspects of Chinese society. For example, many kindergartens in China have recently closed down, especially high-end kindergartens that used to charge higher fees. This kindergarten seems to have a lot of money invested in it. I don't know. How many children were there at the most? More than 400. Has it been open for many years? 4 or 5 years. But it sold a lot of stuff for scrap. I should have come by earlier and picked up some stuff. This kindergarten used to join an educational franchise in Beijing. It cost tens of thousands of dollars to join. Now it's a shame that it's closed down like this. There are still a lot of awards and other things at the entrance. Come and have a look. This kindergarten looks impressive. It's quite big. It can accommodate at least 500 or 600. What a pity that it's closed down now. It's all a pile of garbage now. There are still some tables and chairs and benches, but it's empty now. I just spoke with an older man. He said that this kindergarten was closed for almost a month because the rent was too high, more than 700,000 yuan. But it couldn't recruit enough students. Now it's closed. Now the doors are locked, the offices are empty. Let's take a closer look at the inside. Usually, at this time of the year, there are many summer camps, but now the kindergarten is all locked up inside.
The effects of negative population growth are already here. Kindergartens have seen a wave of closures. In the future, secondary schools, universities, and even school districts should be trembling. Recently, many local kindergartens haven't been able to recruit children, so it has gone from being difficult to get into a kindergarten in the past few years to having a recruitment crisis. Now, even the kindergartens of the central enterprises in Hubei are admitting students from the public for the first time in several decades. Before, you would only recruit within the enterprise, and parents had to wait in line. Now it's open to the public to fill the spot. Private kindergartens are even worse. They can't fill the vacancies even with various discounts and incentives. Therefore, the first batch of kindergartens have closed down. Many colleges and universities may close down and merge. The teaching force will also be downsized, and the school district real estate won't be as popular. In short, the impact of the low birth rate has arrived. The era of scrambling for kindergarten space is going to be over, and this is only the first wave of the impact. In the future, it will affect thousands of trades and industries.
The professor, who used to be the vice president of the China Population Society, provided a set of data. In 1982, when China took its third national census, the sex ratio was 108.5, higher than the upper limit of the normal value of 107. Since then, China's sex ratio at birth has continued to fluctuate and rise, reaching a peak of 121.2 in 2004 and falling to 108.3 in 2021. He estimated that from 1980 to 2021, there were 799 million births in China, with an average sex ratio of 114.4. Based on the normal median value of 105, there would be 34 to 35 million more males than females born in China during the 42-year period. This means that at least 30 million more men in China would not be able to find a wife from their own country if they wanted to get married. When it comes to population issues, Chinese experts only dare to say that the sex ratio at birth is high. But it's well known that it's precisely China's family planning that is responsible for this phenomena. Pressured by a rapidly declining population, the Chinese Communist Party, or CCP, has gone from allowing 2 children to encouraging the birth of 3 at lightning speed over the past 10 years. Despite this policy shift, more and more Chinese people are choosing not to get married or have children because of the high pressure of survival. I am a man of 4 no's. I don't date, get married, buy a home, or have children. Now the cost of love is too high. All the love and sincerity have to be traded with money. It's the same for both men and women. They only think of taking, not giving, and they can be together in good times, but not in bad times. Rewind 10 years ago, I might go for this so-called love, but now it's really impossible without money. Many people fall in love with the precondition, that is, you have to have a home. The house price is now too high. It's not that I don't work hard, but there is no result even if you try hard. Now the competition in the industry is so serious, it's hopeless. It's more like there is nothing I can do as an average person. Moreover, the delinquent wages have been dragging on for a long time. Delinquent wages from UDA Express started from 2000. It owes me 20,000 yuan. It surely will affect my life. After all, it's no small amount. For ordinary people, needless to say, 20,000, 10,000, or even a few thousand yuan may be useful. I went to some kind of labor inspection department, but it was useless. They just passed the buck around with all kinds of excuses and reasons. There are virtually no contracts in the courier industry for each courier. SF Express or Jingdong might have them, but ordinary express companies have no contract practically. So it's very difficult to defend and claim your rights. A crisis of trust has emerged. It's more like being disappointed in the world, I guess. I am now 30 years old. Anyway, my goal is to live another 30 years, trying to make it to the age of 60. After 60, I'll treat illnesses if it's small, and I'll wait to vanish if it's big. So I don't get married and I don't have children. My greatest fatherly love is that I won't let my children come to this nasty world. In China today, the deterioration of the economy and the decline of the population are mutually reinforcing, resulting in a situation where it's impossible to find a way out of the population problem. The CCP is trying to reintroduce the planned economy model to solve many of China's problems, including the population problem. Will it work? Let's take a look at the latest deterioration of the country's economy. The renminbi continues to depreciate, with the onshore renminbi once again approaching the 7.30 mark against the dollar around September 5, 2023, and the offshore renminbi dipping nearly 200 points as well. But at noon on September 11th, the onshore renminbi went on rising against the US dollar. As of 1 p.m., it closed at the mark of 7.27, approaching the 7.26 mark, up more than 700 points in a day. The offshore renminbi against the US dollar quickly rose above the 7.30 mark, up more than 700 points similarly on the same day. It's quite possible that the government has got involved. The falling RMB is directly related to the wealth in the hands of the Chinese people. This was around late August and early September when the dollar renminbi exchange screen was shown with tons of pop-ups secretly calling for the current party leader to step down. For decades, China's overall economy has been booming, and many Chinese have entered the ranks of the middle class. However, in the development process, large time bombs were planted that are exploding today in various areas. Among them, the Ponzi scheme of the real estate economy is the leading one. So, to date, the momentum has become stalled or even retrogressed. Perhaps the most direct economic data that people face is their wages.
I just got back from a job interview. I would like to ask in particular those companies, how do you have the nerve to offer me 3,000 yuan a month in salary? I'm an experienced designer. I've been working for 4 years. I graduated with a bachelor's degree in visual communication, and then you're telling me that you will pay me 3,000 yuan a month, or about $400. He looked at the salary of my previous jobs on my resume. He said that my previous salaries of $680 was considered to be high. I wrote $680 conservatively. I used to have a commission-based salary when the pay was more than that. It was considered a high salary in Taiyuan. His company needs a graphic designer like Jingdong and Taobao stores. In addition to being responsible for pictures and product detail page design, I'm also responsible for shelving products, clearing inventories, taking pictures of products, and retouching pictures. I was offered $400 to do the work of 3 people. He still complained that I had no work experience because I had never shelved products before. Please, I'm a graphic designer. I'm only responsible for drawings. If I do everything, what's the point of having operation personnel? What do you need a warehouse manager for? It's fine if I have to do the work of 3 people by myself, but he only pays $400.
The location of the woman in the video is Taiyuan. According to 2022 data, Taiyuan is a second-tier city. China's white-collar workers are suffering not only in small and medium-sized cities, but also in first-tier ones. Hiring salaries in Shanghai and Beijing fell 9% and 6% respectively in the second quarter from a year earlier, according to data compiled by Bloomberg based on Zhaopin Limited. That's the biggest drop since at least the year 2015. For many white-collar workers, companies have also slashed benefits, including travel and meal allowances, compounding the blow. The statistics also found that hiring salaries in Shenzhen, Guangzhou, and Hangzhou also fell to varying degrees. Stellar industries such as finance and technology have been hit hard, with some senior Chinese bankers seeing pay cuts of up to 40%. For the government, which is increasingly short on money, they have to set their eyes on the high-income group. Now this group has become a high-risk group, especially private entrepreneurs, because they are facing a political party that claims to see communism, a society with no private money, and everything is publicly owned. I am a businessman from Jiangsu. My name is Zhang Yang. I report the shady government of Min County in Gansu Province. I am willing to bear all the legal responsibility for any inaccuracies in what I have reported. They not only didn't support me in the investment expo to attract investors, but when I was about to receive the social and economic benefits after completing the investment on July 12, 2023 at 9 a.m., they organized more than 100 people to forcibly seize my company and my hundreds of millions of dollars of assets. They blatantly violated the laws and regulations and abused the power like the triads, and in broad daylight. Now I am faced with the reality of losing all my money and becoming homeless. This not only hurt me and my family, but also hurt my staff and the business environment in Gansu, which was carefully built by Secretary Hu Changsheng of Gansu Provincial Party Committee. It has seriously hindered the economic development of Gansu Province. Who would dare to invest in Gansu after what happened to me, a Jiangsu businessman investing in Gansu? Now I have no way to file a complaint, but only to expose this heinous, dark matter to the public. Please help me by reposting and commenting on this video so that the truth will come out, so that no more fellow businessmen will be cheated, and so that such lawless and tyrannical government leaders will not continue to jeopardize private enterprises and the economic development of Gansu. In China, this is the painful experience of the well-off private enterprises. The so-called campaign of common prosperity promoted by the CCP could not only force them to impose salary restrictions, take pay cuts and reduce various subsidies and benefits, but even lose their businesses and fortunes, as in the case above. In order to get a more accurate picture of the people's asset pool and to increase its efforts to implement a planned economy, the CCP has begun a new campaign.
Let's talk about something major. The The fifth national economic census to map up the family's financial situation is here. According to the notice of the State Council, the fifth national economic census will be carried out for 1 year, starting from August this month, with the goal of taking the pulse of the family's economic situation to serve high-quality development. What do you think this means? The slogan was just posted. Take the pulse of families' economic situation to serve high-quality development. Someone explains it to me. What it means exactly.
Slogans in public places have served as guideposts for various policies since the founding of the CCP. For example, the slogans on population: bring down the population, bring up the national economy; bring up the economy, bring up the population; place the birth ring after the first child; tie the knot after the second child; reward for having 2 children, penalty for having only 1, and those who have no children should all be arrested. So, the slogan of taking the pulse of the economy, mapping the family assets, and benefiting all with the results of the census has appeared in the public arena this time. So, what does it mean?
The government has begun to figure out everyone's family assets and family line. It's going to know you really well. Let's take a look at how it's done to know your family assets and family line. First, let's take a look at the family assets part. It's relatively simple. Now, through the National Real Estate Network, they can get a clear picture of your real estate. Whether you have real estate in Shandong or Hainan, it's all networked and connected. Simply enter your name and your ID number. Where did you buy the property? How much did you spend? Where is the location? And what's the square footage? Everything is clear. The second piece is the vehicles. Vehicles have been networked since the end of last year. Even used vehicles have been networked, not to mention the new ones. So it's very simple. Whether you bought a new vehicle or a used one, as long as you input your name and ID number, you can find out how much money you spent on it and how much purchase tax you paid at that time. Everything is crystal clear. The third piece is where it really shows your family's financial resources. It's the tax and banking network. No matter which bank you use, be it the Bank of Communications, Construction Bank, Agricultural Bank, Industrial and Commercial Bank of China, or any other bank, the assets in your name in the bank, no matter what they are, cash, stocks, and mutual funds, all of the information on your bank cards is clear. And this is about your family assets. Now let's look at another piece, how they map out the family tree. It's easily done through the personal income tax app. It's to find out how many children are under your name, how many children you have, right? Whether it's the newborn or school-age children and how old they are, it's clear as day. Another piece about the elderly people at home, whether the elderly has reached 60 years old, if you're the only child at home, and details about your siblings. All the information is linked. It's because one can get 2,000 yuan tax credit every month for supporting an elderly person who is over 60 years old. If there are siblings, the amount will be divided. So even the number of siblings is easily figured out. So the state has been laying out a clear and complete profile of each individual.
It's evident that the various policies of the CCP are contradictory to each other. At a time when the authorities are trying to restore consumer confidence, a drop in salaries will lead people to further cut back on spending, while mapping out people's personal assets and family lines will make people more cautious in building up their assets. In the face of various kinds of interlocking economic and demographic crises, the CCP has another supporting method: inciting patriotism, calling on the public to have babies for the sake of the country and to spend money for the sake of the country, including buying houses and cars. But after all those campaigns, an increasing number of Chinese people have come to their senses.
I disagree with the saying that everyone is responsible for the rise and fall of the country. What responsibility can an average person have to the rise and fall of the country? You're the ones who did the deed. You're the ones who took the benefit. You're the ones who gained the favor. And you're the ones who scraped all the fat. When it's your turn to take responsibility, then it becomes the responsibility of everyone. When you're prosperous, have you shared the fortune with everyone? Look at the average people. They can't afford to get married, have kids, buy a home, or go to the hospital. It's such a big game. It's definitely something a woman like me can't afford to play.